Hello, guys. Welcome back to World of Pups. Today we have a new segment, a podcast. We have created a space where stories cross the oceans and cultures collide, dreams are rebuilt from the ground up. I'm your host today, and we are going to talk about what it's really like to move from a country where you call home to another country, in this case from Kenya to the United States. The excitement, the culture shock, the sacrifices, opportunities, and just the journey of creating a new life while still holding on to home. From navigating a different culture, starting over, finding a community purpose and identity in a new country. This podcast is for anyone who has ever taken a leap of faith. Whether you're an immigrant, international student, part of a diaspora, or just curious about the experience, that you're in the right place. So grab your tea, coffee, your favorite snack, and let's get right into it. So to help me go into this topic, I have two guests. On my right, I have Moshe. Say hi to the podcast. And on my left, I have Brian.
Hey guys.
So all of us moved from a country of that where we call home and came into a new country. So we'll get right into it. So on to the first question. Can you share with us the story of why you decided to move into a new country? What were you looking for? What were your motivations for making this big change in your life? I think we'll start with Moshe.
All right, thank you very much. So for me, really, it was an opportunity of a lifetime. And I remember this very clearly in my mind. I remember one evening, I popped into a cafe, an internet cafe in Nairobi, and then I applied for the lottery. They call it a green card. And then 2 years down the road, I got mail that I had been selected for the lottery, that basically that I'd won it. And then a year down the road, I found myself in America.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I got here. It was purely because I won a green card.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's a good story. And Brian, want to share with us your story?
Yeah, mine's a bit different. I came here to join my young family. I was a student in Europe, and not a lot was working for me there, and I basically had no choice but to join them. So I just moved here, just hoping for anything, something can work along the way, and it did work. So I can't say it's by chance. It was pre-planned, and I just hoped that it's gonna be okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll talk about whether how's that working for you so far. So yeah, thank you guys for that introduction. For myself, it's similar to Moshe's story, but I was in Nairobi, hustling after my campus and just trying to make it work in Nairobi when I touched Shamba la Mawe. So, in the process, my spouse, said, "Hey, I think we should move to the United States." And I'm like, I don't think so. I didn't think I wanted to move out of Kenya. But, I was like, you know what, let's give this a try, because what in Nairobi wasn't working very well at that time. So, yeah, we packed our belongings and moved to a new country. So that's how I came here. Okay.
And how long? How far back was this?
How far back? Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. It's been almost 20 years. I came here in 2007, 2006, December. So that's actually almost 20 years in this country. How about you, Brian?
Maybe 7 to 8 years ago. So very different to 20 years ago, but I think we'll get into how different it was for each one of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Moshe?
Yeah, for me, it's been well over 20 years as well. Yeah, so we've been here over 2 decades, basically. Yep.
All right. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question, and feel free to throw in some Swahili there if you feel comfortable speaking Swahili. So the next question is, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced when first arriving in the new country? So I'm sure when you first came in, it was not all smooth. Maybe there were some bumps on the road. So do you mind sharing what kind of challenges you faced? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, as an immigrant, one of the first challenges that you encounter is the weather. The weather is completely it's a shocker because when I remember we got here in the fall, and then because when we left home country, it was hot, and then when we landed, it was suddenly the weather just changed. It was cold. So one of the biggest challenges as an immigrant is the weather, and that hits you immediately the moment you land here. It just hits different because, I mean, you're suddenly thrust into this new environment where the weather is completely different from what you're used to. Yeah.
And did you have the necessary clothing did anyone?
Oh,
Did you buy heavy?
yeah. So we were warned in advance about the winter, the cold and all that. So we had jackets, but I think the jackets that we came with were not really prepped for winter. Okay, so they were light jackets, but even with that, I mean, we had the jacket, but we didn't have the pants, we didn't have the gloves, the hat, so we were not really kitted for the different kind of weather that hit us when we landed here.
Yeah, that actually reminds me that when I was told I was coming to the U.S., I went to a place in Jogo Road where they sell heavy jackets. So they were hanging there. We've been passing there a lot of times, and I was like, those are too heavy. Kenya is hot, so I decided to stop by and say, this could work for where I'm going. So I stopped by and got jackets. They were really, really, really heavy. And then the funny thing is that they must have been like, really old, because at one point when we were in the plane, the feathers started falling off from the from the jacket. You know, I don't know. I think it was really old because the feathers started falling off from the jackets. and it was actually really, really hot because I was in the plane, I'm sweating, I'm like, is it really cold where we're going, because I'm really sweating already. So I'm thankful that I had that pair of jackets. At least it's better than nothing. Yeah, and then when we started looking for work here, I had some stockings that I got from Kenya, and I thought that was warm enough. So one day I'm going out in a skirt and stockings and flat shoes. So can you imagine in 40, no, I think it was like 30-degree weather where you're supposed to have like boots. I was out there in stockings and flat shoes. I froze. I really, really froze. So that the weather part, that nobody really warns you about how it really is. So, after that, I'm sure people who came behind me, I was really, insisting that they need to dress well, and made sure that they had everything they needed. Brian.
Coming here, my worry wasn't really the weather. It didn't really stress me. But the first time I left Kenya, that was when I wasn't prepared. So someone who thought they knew, they thought they knew everything. They advised me on getting trench coats and stuff. So I bought trench coats from this person, and that's nothing. It was in October,
Wow.
I think, and it was really cold. So it doesn't block anything. It keeps the warmth inside, but like the cold hits you. So, and at that time I was moving to a different country, which we'll get into in a future episode. So that's more reason for you guys to subscribe. and stay, just stay tuned to what's coming in the future episodes. So coming here, as I say, the weather wasn't really my worry. It was I wanted to be economically active from the first day. So that mentality isn't really, it's good, but the higher your hopes are, the easier for you to get disappointed, because you want to start being productive the next day, which doesn't really work that way. So I was expecting I'll be here, and then within 2 days or 3 days, I'd be somewhere, just grinding. Yes, making money, but it didn't work that way. So the disappointment was too much. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Um, so on to the next question. I think when you come into a new country, there's this, cultural differences and things that take you by surprise. And sometimes you do things when now you look back, you're like, oh my goodness, I was very naive and very, I didn't understand what this country is. So can you share like humorous or funny misunderstandings when you first moved here? Things that you did that were, you look back and you just laugh at yourself, or anything that shocked you and that's different from back home.
Are we allowed to say everything? Okay, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead, yeah.
So I think one of the issues that, because we landed here and then we started, putting our papers together, and then one of the challenges that immediately hit us was the money. Just the pennies, the quarters, the cents. Just counting that, and because when we started off, we started riding the bus. And then, so the way it works is you can, you board the bus and then you look up the fare and then you drop your coins into there's a coin box on there. So sometimes we didn't even know whether we had enough or more. Okay. So, sometimes the driver would just look at you and you have your coins and like, just come in and sit down and then pay as the bus was moving, because we were holding up the bus. So that was I thought that was challenging and funny at the same time, because getting used to the money and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then another funny incident that we had was ordering food. We landed here, and so our host at the time took us to a Chinese restaurant. I had never been to a Chinese restaurant before, and I'd never ordered Chinese food. So we landed there, and she said, guys, feel free to order for yourself dinner. And we were looking at the menu like, what the heck? Like, what do we get? So I remember clearly what I ordered. I ordered some chicken and broccoli, and I think some rice as well. I had never eaten broccoli before. So when I tried eating the broccoli and the chicken and all that stuff, it was really tasty. And so since then I've had a thing with broccoli. I don't like broccoli since that time, because my first experience with broccoli wasn't really good. Yeah.
All right. Brian, you want to go next?
Yeah, I don't think mine was funny. I think mine was the courteous nature of people here, like holding the door for the next person, giving way, just thinking about the next person, because coming from Nairobi especially, where life moves very fast, it's everyone for themselves. You're rushing to get to the next place before the next person. You're struggling to walk by and everything. So if you don't flip out of that, you can look like an uncivilized person. And I think it's very disappointing to the people here. So that was my number one. And the other thing I think would be when ordering food. I think the difference in words. people use ketchup, and you're there asking for tomato sauce, and everyone is, and number one, of course, the way you're saying tomato, it's no one understands what you're saying. So you're there asking for this thing, and you can see it, but you don't want to point to the item. So it's that was so those two things among many others were the ones that were very different and surprising to me.
Okay. All right. For me, I would say it's. I think one funny incident was I started when I started working. I worked at a clothing store, and one of the managers, I told them I was going out for lunch, and they gave me $10 and said, "Hey, get me some fries on your way back." I was like, "Okay, I'll get you fries." So I had never ordered from McDonald's or anything. And I think I was going to Shoppers. It's like a supermarket or a food store. So I went into Shoppers and got what I wanted. But I didn't know that they had like cooked fries. They serve the cooked meal somewhere. So I'm like, where in Shoppers do they sell fries? So guess where I went? I went to the frozen section. The frozen section, and got the fries in the frozen section to take to my manager for lunch. I can tell you, the man looked at me, and I don't know, he didn't even know what to tell me. He was just like, "It's fine. I'll take it to my wife in the evening." So that was crazy, I didn't quite understand where I should have gone to order that. So that was one interesting thing. And then again, about the money, I was hired to be, I think they were short of cashiers. So on day one, they put me on a register to be a cashier. And I was just, giving back, dimes and quarters and mixing it up, because I didn't really know the currency that well. So I kept on giving back change. And when they came to my register, to count it at the end of the shift, it was short. So they just looked at me. They're like, "Okay, you're never coming back to the register." So they put me back to folding the clothes and stuff. So so that was
From your paycheck?
Oh no, they didn't touch my paycheck. It was really nothing. Like it was just minimum wage at that point. So if they took anything out, I'd be left with nothing really.
What were you thinking while giving out the change? Were you like just giving
I was just like, okay, let's keep the lines moving. That's what I was doing. So, looking back, I'm like, that was really, I should have said I don't know. But at that point, it was just important to, as you said, just hit the road running, like just, make that money, and get your life started. So that was.
What made them put you at the whatever? Had you told them you're an accountant before?
No, I didn't actually. I think at that point when we came, I think it was like jobs were available everywhere. It was very. I think there were less people than jobs. So as soon as they found someone, actually I went for an interview in the morning, and they told me to come in the afternoon to start. So it was like they were desperate for people, and I guess I looked like I knew what I was doing, because they're like, "Oh, okay, she looked like she's smart." So they put me on the register straight away. Yeah. So after that, I kind of, made a point to learn the currency. And of course, right now, I can't confuse quarters and dimes and pennies. So yeah, that was interesting.
Must have been a crazy first day.
Yeah.
I think that's the story.
Oh yeah.
That's the story in its.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. Anything you guys experienced at work when you first started, like that was, out of this world?
Yeah. So where my previous employment basically it was a salaried position, so I never had to work for hours. There was a constant paycheck at the end of the month.
You mean back in Kenya?
Back in Kenya. Yeah, I would get paid on a monthly basis, which is different here because Here you can get like a weekly job or bi-weekly job, really depending. So I got my job at the time was being paid on a bi-weekly basis, for some reason I never got a full paycheck, and I never understood why I never got a full paycheck. And the reason was I would never really work the 40 hours that I was being asked to work, because I would sneak out of work, I would take off and then I would clock out. And then it never hit me that, you're being paid on the hours that you worked. So way back later when I realized like the reason why I wasn't getting a full paycheck was because I wasn't working my full 40 hours, which was crazy in itself. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Brian, anything you experienced at work?
Yeah, my first job was I was cleaning houses with someone. So I never really got to interact with other people one on one, because the houses were empty, the offices were empty. So it was a safe space, if I would say, because no interactions. And then I worked with Kenyans, so I didn't need to speak English. So it was nice. It was nice. The only thing is having been, with Kenya, for example, the unemployment is so high. So if you get a job, you do more than what you're required to do, because you're afraid of losing the job. But then here you're only supposed to do what they want you to do. So cleaning these houses, I was doing more. Like, we were being paid to just maintain it, maybe just wipe down the dust. But I was there scrubbing, moving furniture, scrubbing the corners, taking cobwebs off, and we were not being paid for that. So I was once cleaning one bathroom somewhere, and my employer at that time wondered why 2 hours later I was still in the same bathroom. I hadn't moved out. So he wondered what was up. And then when he came in, the place was spotless. And he was like, yeah, we're not paid for that. We're just paid to just wipe down the surface and move on.
Wow.
So that was me, 2 hours. We were supposed to have done the entire house, but I was in that one same spot. So I think that was a good introduction to know that you just do what you're paid for, and don't go above and above and beyond, especially if it's your first job.
Yeah.
It's just do the basic. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, so with time, we've spent here. You said 8 years, 20 years for some. So you kind of develop habits and things that when you go back to Kenya, people look at you. They're like, there's something different, or you notice different things when you go to visit. So I was just curious to see what is that when you go back to Kenya and or people notice you, they're already saying, oh, this one is not from around here, or you yourself notice things and you're like, oh, this is this is not what I'm used to. So what is it what habits, or what things do you notice when you go back to Kenya?
I think the most habit that comes out is courtesy, and just saying thank you. Because in Kenya the culture is not, it's like it's kind of, I don't want to use the word aggressive, but we don't say thank you enough in Kenya. So like I remember when I went to Kenya and I rode on the matatu. And then I paid the guy my fare, and then he gave me change. And then I said, "Asante." The guy looked at me like, are you sure? Like, why are you saying thank you? Have you paid? Have you paid? Have you paid for the fare? Have you basically given me your money? I'm like, yes, I have. So why are you saying thank you? Nobody had ever said thank you to him before. So, courtesy, that sets you apart immediately. Because I can guarantee you'll be the only person in that bus who will say thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think I've seen that as well. Brian?
Yeah, same thing. And courtesy also, like letting people pass.
Yes.
The people will be looking back at you like you're crazy. It's like maybe they start doubting your intentions. They maybe think you're a thief or something. You're like, what's this guy doing? Why are they giving me space, letting me pass? It's unlike the norm. So I think that's number one. And of course, there's rules here that people follow. You know, people follow the traffic rules. People when the lights are red, people stop. You know, when they're green, you go. Of course, it's common. But then it's in most African countries, like, these are just there probably just for show. So if you end up, maybe the sign says you can't cross, or you're supposed, there's people crossing, so you tend to follow them, but in your mind you're doing the wrong thing. So, and then if you stop, you look weird. So, like, one person told me once they went back, the person they were with crossed the road, and then they had to come back for them, grab their hand, and then help them cross, because it was not in a crossing area.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But people cross everywhere, so you would be there looking for zebra crossing, and like no one cares. The drivers don't care, so it's a different thing. And that, you know, even living here 1 or 2 years, going back, of course, after following rules here every single day, that's a big shift. So that's one of the main things.
Yeah, I think for me, I noticed the same kind of thing. And I think for me also, courtesy and personal space. I feel like, you know, back home, we don't have this thing called personal space. I think COVID helped a little bit with the 6 foot rule, you know, what's it called? The social distancing, yeah. Because, I mean, personal space, I feel like you are in a queue and someone is on your back, breathing on your neck. You're like, hey, jamani, susonge kidogo, you know? So, things like that. You know, and things, something positive, you know, the way Kenyans are laid back, you know, sorry about that, guys. The video was cut off. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the session. Join us next time, and please share, subscribe, and tap the notification button to get the next episode. Comment in the comment section your experiences as an immigrant or as a student in another country. So give us what you have experienced.